we're bringing that fire. Talking real talk, Kentucky's on fire. From bourbon to ball games, we got that flow. On the We Do This Too podcast, yeah, you know. From country roads to the city lights, they bring the heat, man, every night. We do this too, let's make it clear. If you ain't listening, you ain't here.
What's up, guys? Welcome to another edition of the We Do This Too Outdoors podcast. I'm your host, Courtney Williamson. I've got a special guest today on, Miss Sharenda Birts. How you doing, ma'am?
I'm good. How about yourself?
I'm doing fantastic. Blessed, black, and highly favored, as they say.
Same.
That's right. So, yeah, I had found you on our little live that we did last week with me, Justin, and Trey, and you had us absolutely dying laughing in the comments. So I definitely
Y'all
had to
gotta
get
forgive
you
me.
on.
Y'all gotta forgive me. I think I'm funny sometimes.
You had us dying. So I was like, I've got to get her on the podcast just to tell her side of the story and everything with her. So you're from Kansas City, Missouri. Is that right?
Correct.
Correct. Born and raised.
Well, born in Texas, but raised in Missouri.
I got you. So how did you get introduced to the outdoors?
You blanked out on me for a second. I didn't hear you.
Oh, you good? I said, how did you get introduced to the outdoors?
It was by circumstances and accident. So I have food allergies now, thanks to I had to have my thyroid removed because I had thyroid cancer.
Oh
So
no.
it was kind of hard trying to figure out what I was and wasn't allergic to now. And pork was one, and most commercially processed beef. Do you know how it is to be in your mid 30s and then realize you can no longer eat bacon?
I they'd have to take me on the
Devastated.
board.
Devastated. And I also had scoliosis, and so for probably about mm, maybe a year, almost two, I couldn't walk because my back had got so bad, my hip and leg locked up. So instead of having surgery, I had them straighten my back, which took a period of a year. So by the time I was able to walk unassisted without anything, and the allergy was done with, and after being on a sporting clay league, and finally, somebody told me about a pheasant hunt that Pheasants Forever does for free. I went and did that, and it was the first activity I could actually walk by myself, and it was the first time I had ever hunted anything,
Okay.
and it was
So
great.
that's awesome. So they got you that pheasant hunt. So what got you hooked pretty much?
It got me going. It was especially when it dawned on me that after your field dressing and cleaning, that you can sometimes, well, with birds, you can see what they eat. So that
Hmm.
helped me out a lot, and just curious about the biology and seeing what they ate, let what kind of habitats you can go to and find more. So it just kind of it was what do they call it? A black hole from there. And plus I grew up an only child, so I've always found ways to entertain myself, and I just really enjoyed it. And it's just nice. It's probably a lot more easier for me being a newbie to go out and explore and do things by myself because, like I said, I can entertain myself. So it just I'm hooked. That's all I can say.
That's good. Yeah, I was looking at your Instagram earlier. It looks like you're an archer too, correct?
Yes, but that was midsummer's new obsession. I had tinkered around during COVID, and didn't really have much guidance there until probably 2023. And I still didn't really have much guidance there. And then I finally had a couple of friends that are archers, and one of them does competitive shooting. So it's the, oh, well, my friends are doing it. I might as well do it
Yeah,
too. And it's another rabbit hole. It's all my
yeah.
hobbies are expensive.
Oh, trust me. Yeah, this outdoors thing, man. That's why I was telling a bunch of my buddies that wanted to get into it. I was like, depending on what you want to get into it, you can get into it fairly cheap. But depending on which avenue that you want to go down, especially duck hunting, can get real expensive, and archery can get real expensive.
Look, and my family is not outdoorsy. They do not hunt, so it's not like I could even depend on borrowing anything from anybody. I didn't even have any friends until that were outdoorsy until I started hunting. So it was expensive for me out the gate.
Yeah, it's it can get that way. Yes, my wife. I got into duck hunting about 3 years ago, and I've been down that rabbit hole ever since. And it's probably the most expensive thing that I've gotten into so far. But it is what it is. That's why we work.
Look, my waders got destroyed, like not even unfixable, and I think I cried for 2 weeks.
Yeah,
2 weeks. They were hanging on a hook, and when I went to take them down, didn't get them down enough, and it grabbed a nail and ripped
and
from
ripped
boot
all the way.
to
Ooh.
bottom.
What
And
kind of
they
weight are
were lacrosse. Now lacrosse are expensive to begin with, but I got them on a mad stupid sale at Shields, and it's hard for women. It's hard for curvy women to
they?
find waders that fit. So I was sick with it. Like I literally cried for 2 weeks. I was like, you know what? That's going to have to be next
Oh
year's
man,
uh next year's gear
yeah,
list because I have accessories are the most expensive to get to. I'm
yeah,
in the year of accessories.
yeah. I understand that. I just bought me some new banded waders not too long ago, and I didn't want to spend that much money on them, but I got a pretty good deal on them through a mutual friend of ours. So it wasn't too off bad. But so I
Well, I
seen
gotta
that
go.
you. Oh, you're good. Go ahead. Go ahead.
I gotta go through the hassle of trying them all over again because the ones that I bought the waders, they were the stout men waders. Well, I ain't stout no more, so now
Yeah.
I
So
gotta go
you.
through the whole process of trying to try on. Do I do the women's? Did y'all change it? I hate it. I hate the whole process. It makes me not
Yeah.
even want to go duck hunting anymore.
Well, yeah, we're gonna get into that. Finding clothes for the curvier women because I know you. That was one thing that you had us dying about in the comments last week. About the clothes fitting and this and that because I'm a big dude and I still have trouble finding clothes to fit me sometimes. So
Look,
I understand the
titties.
process. I ain't got them. I ain't got them.
Some men do.
I got a wide chest, broad shoulders, and I got a big old butt that I get from the Williamson side of my family. So uh I get it somewhat. I gotta go about 3 sizes up into my jeans just because of the little curvier stuff I got in the back. But it is what it is. We'll figure it out. But yeah, I see that you VP and co-founder of wilderness.org. Can you tell us a little bit about that?
So that is an organization that our president was the original. It was her intellectual idea on property and how me and the other co-founders met. We would attend outdoor events that were in the KC metro area, and after seeing somebody about 3 or 4 times, you kind of like kids. We need to be friends, and we went on several hunts together and chat, and we all came from different perspectives of hunting. You had the one girl that had dreams of duck hunting, and her dad always told them they were too poor, so they
Right.
never duck hunted. You had the classic girl that only got to go hunting on Valentine's Day. I mean, not Valentine's Day, Thanksgiving Day with her dad. And then you had the classic, I was introduced to hunting in college by my roommate. And then you had me that had never been hunting until now. So we volunteer with a couple of other organizations, and it just wasn't an ideal fit or events that we would like to have seen from our perspective. Whereas me, mine was okay, I don't know anything about species habitat. I have questions about rules and regs. Can I talk to a warden, judgment free, all that? And so we all got together and brainstormed about what we would like to see in our events, and we just decided, you know what, let's try it and see what we can do. And we also there was also not in the KC metro area, there are hardly any women outdoor organizations.
Hmm.
And not saying that, I don't always participate in all women events, but getting started, it is nice to just know that you don't have to deal with sometimes the stress or the competitiveness, although that's starting to be an issue in some events with women. But
Yeah.
sometimes it's just nice to just go to an all woman event and not feel a little intimidated. So we try to provide, I guess you could say, a safe space, and then kind of gradually work you into having a network of women. So after you attend our events, it's not just a one and done. We reach out, we invite you to other things. We have chats, exchange phone numbers. Like even now, I'll get a random text. Hey, I want to go scout a new area. Would you be my buddy and go with me? Well, sure, I would love to. It's like you don't have to go to an event to have a community of people to support you. So that's what we like to focus on.
I love it. That's dope. Yeah, that's good that y'all have that safe space that y'all can go to, because I know I've met a lot of female outdoorsmen, black and white, that they just feel kind of intimidated because it's a male dominated sport. I mean, let's just go ahead and say it.
Yeah.
And they get very nervous and very intimidated going to some of these archery events or shooting events or whatever. Um, so they don't even go. Or so it's good to have those people like you and your brand that can actually get out there and help those women that might feel intimidated and whatever to get out there. So so is this organization for just for African Americans, or just for everybody?
It's for everybody, and I'm gonna admit that I am struggling reaching the African American community, and it's a 50-50. I don't have any children, so I don't have that connection or social aspect to reach out to other women and invite them into outdoor spaces. I also run into an issue where the spaces that I do go to, because I'll go out and do networking events and just go out to settings outside of my normal things that I like to entertain myself with or do. And the interest is just not there,
Hmm.
or if the interest is there, it's the scheduling. So I'm trying to figure out, and the organization is trying to figure out what we can do to make the outdoors more accessible. Because, for me, even I recognize that it doesn't matter if you're a single parent, two-parent home, or a multi-family home. If you got kids that are in activities, oh my God, their sports schedule is just like having a job. So trying to take your kid to go get Hunter Ed certified if they have to do an in-person portion. You got two other kids that may have football, basketball, or soccer, and you have these classes that are an hour or so away. Sometimes it's just not feasible. Or, you have an event that's planned and it's spring vacation for the kids. So what are you supposed to do with your kids? So
Right.
there's a lot of barriers that I'm trying to recognize and understand. And then you also have to look at the age bracket or the generation. one of the things that I found in my age bracket, and I'm just gonna go ahead and share. I just turned 47, or am I 48? I gotta carry a one now. Um, I turned 47 this year, but I grew up in an era where there's guys that I went to high school with that they do go hunting, or they have gone, or they go hunting consistently. And one of one of my friend's wives, actually, when she learned I wanted to hunt, she demanded, "Why don't you take Sharenda hunting? And you need to take her the next time you and the guys go hunting." And we're looking at her, and I'm like, "Huh?" And he's like, "Well, you explain to my wife." And I looked at her and I go, "Do you think that it's appropriate for me, as it doesn't matter if I'm married or single, to be the only female to go
Right.
out and go hunting with an all male party, unless you're going?" And he's like, "Thank you," because we've been arguing for weeks. And even I don't get it as much now because people in my circle are used to it. But when I first got started, I even had a lot of black men telling me, "You don't need to be out there in the woods by yourself. It's not safe." And I'm like, I get it, but you're not necessarily taking me. And it's no different than if I got off from work at 3 o'clock in the morning and walk into my car. I mean, there were some barriers when I first got started with that. Even my stepdad gave me a hard time. "You don't need to go out there hunting at 4 o'clock in the morning or driving at 2 o'clock." And I'm like, "Well, I'm grown now. You can't tell me what to do." So
Right.
that's been something else that's still been an issue.
Yeah. I'd say it would be an issue. And I feel like people like you, and I got a friend named Amber Latasha. She's a big archer. She's got her own brand as well. I think people like y'all just getting out there and showing that women can do this will just maybe open the door for somebody who's been out there, that wants to get out there, that hasn't had the opportunity or is just scared to get out there. Now, I remember you just said you've had some of the African American community not want to get
Yeah.
outdoors. Why do you think that is? Besides the scheduling issues and the kid issue, like besides those two things, is it is it? I've had this conversation with a lot of people, and it's hard to bring it into words. Are they scared because
Okay.
it's the unknown, or is it something that they just, I don't know. What's your opinion?
I think I think it's a combination of the scared of the unknown. Um, Not necessarily. It's predominantly been like a activity that we perceive that only white people do. And then it's also a matter of the areas that you have to go to. Um, you might not necessarily feel safe going out to a rural area to hunt if that's the closest public conservation land, because I predominantly hunt public. I have access to a few private, but it's only by invitation, but I predominantly do public. There are some nutcases out on public. Um,
Oh, I know.
I definitely, like, if I had someone ask me if I would go sit in the blind with them out on public property, which is one of the other reasons why I love our organization. I always know that there is someone that we know that there's someone we can count on to go and have our back. Whether it's just to go and keep you company, or if you just think it's an area where you just wouldn't mind having backup. That's the one of the things I really love about our organization and our fellowship within our group.
I understand that. I was talking to Justin about this the other day. He hunts mostly public. I hunt mostly private, simply because I have a farm that I grew up on, and my best friend has a farm that he grew up on. So we predominantly hunt both of those farms. But there's a public ground that's about 45 minutes away from here that is known for, it's basically a sundown town.
Mhm.
Um, It's been like that for years. And there's a WMA there, and a lot of my buddies is like, "Hey man, let's go turkey hunting here. Let's go duck hunting here. Let's go deer hunting here." So man, I ain't going down there. I don't care who I'm with. I said I'm just not putting myself in that situation where I get confronted by somebody who doesn't want me there just because of the color of my skin.
Exactly. And there's a
And
lot of people that are in denial that Sunset Town still exists.
right, and it's not me being, it was like, Courtney, man, you a big dude. You ain't afraid. And I was like, it ain't about being afraid. It's about me getting home to my family. And I
Mhm.
don't want to put myself in that situation where I might not make it home that night to my son and my wife. So some of my friends understand that. Some of them don't. But when I kind of sit down and explain it to them, man, I'm like, put yourself in my shoes. I'm the only black guy probably in 30 miles of that place that people know that hunt. Everybody knows Seawell hunts. When I go down there, everybody in my circle knows me here, but I go to the next county over where people that don't know me, I'm gonna have an issue with somebody. You know what I'm saying?
Oh
And
yeah.
that's the part that they don't understand. So when I talk to some of these African Americans in other counties that want to get started hunting, and we start looking at some of the towns that these public land areas are in, they're predominantly known for being either sundown towns or places in the past where African Americans were not allowed to go, and it just kind of scares them away. Which I understand that. So anybody that wants to come hunt with me, I tell them, I'm gonna get you your hunter safety. I'm gonna make sure you know what you're doing because I don't hunt with unsafe people.
Mhm.
I'm gonna take you out in the woods with me. So I think a big thing too. When people understand some of these places back in the day weren't made for us, and they're still like that today. I'm not gonna put myself in a situation where I might not make it home to my family that night. You
And you
know,
know, another thing that I just had this conversation a few months ago, where y- people that people that don't live the life that we live. I mean, because you have to think about it's not been that long. We're talking about what, 40, 50 years,
50,
50,
60
60
years
years.
maybe. Yeah.
Yeah. And, I've had to explain to a few people that, when you hear the, oh, my area or my family is not that way. And I'm like, everybody has two faces, and it is so Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde. I was like, your associations and circles and town can smile in my face all day. But the minute you're not there, or you turn your back, or your presence is not there, we or I get a whole different side. And there is people that are not black or brown, or let me rephrase that, people that are not white, I mean, people that are non or minority color or whatever, they will never understand, and they don't get it, and they don't see it. And sometimes it's just exhausting trying to explain it to them, where you just don't even want to bother sometimes. And I'm like, it's like, why bother? You will never get it. You won't live it. You won't see it. You won't experience. So it's out of sight, out of mind for you.
Right. Yeah. I've got a spot that I go um hunting with a buddy quite a bit, and I won't mention his name and I won't mention the place, but it's here in Kentucky. And he's always like, man, there was a lot of race issues back in the day, but you're with me, nothing's gonna happen to you.
I wish I had $5 for every time I heard that.
And I'm like, bro, how do you know that though? And he's like, man, you're with me, man. I said, man, your circle I don't know your circle. Like the people that you grew up around, they might
Hmm.
be cool with you. But as soon as I walk in there, somebody unknown and a person of color, we might have an issue. And I said, I've been to the same place that you're telling me about with a cousin of mine and two cousins of mine. And we had issues because they were basically like, why are you here? And who do you know that's here? And I was like, well, basically, I had to throw my buddy's name in the loop, basically, just get us out of there because we were surrounded. We were basically about 30 to 5. You know, they all had guns, we had guns, but I'm like, man, if we ain't get out of here, it's gonna get rough. And I'm telling him that, like on the way home, I said, dude, if I didn't throw your name in the loop, I said we would have been in trouble. I said that's the perfect example of what I'm talking about. If I'm not with you, I'm gonna have some issues. Even when I'm with you, I might have some issues. So I stay out of those situations. That's why I mainly hunt private land. A lot of my friends now are starting to understand that. So if we do go to public land, it's somewhere that I know where it's at. I know it's safe. I've had buddies that hunt there. We cool, whatever. But I got to do my research before I go anywhere. You know, if my buddy say, "Hey, we're going to Arkansas to duck hunt," all right, what part of Arkansas are we going to? I gotta look
Mhm.
it up. I gotta look it up. I gotta see what
Yeah.
that town's like. You know,
I gotta see what the brown population count is.
Mhm. Right? Just to see, because I mean, you know this just as well as I do, man. Like, so my grandmother gave me this book when I was a kid. It's a green book. You can get it on Amazon. It's called the Negro's Traveler's Book, and
I never
basically,
heard of that one. Let me jot that down. Hold on.
yeah,
Negro Traveler's Book.
it's called the Negro Traveler's Book. It's a green book that you can get. And in this book, whatever town or city or state that you're going to, you look up in that book and see what town is safe for you to stay in. Um, Georgia, Alabama, Tennessee, Louisiana, Mississippi, Kentucky, everywhere. Basically, everywhere in the union, all 50 states. If you're traveling somewhere, you can look up in this book to see back in the day. This was in the 60s, you know, not long ago, where you can look up in this book to see which hotels you can stay in and what towns you can stay in. So I'm the same way now. If somebody say, "Hey, we're
Mhm.
going to such and such town to go hunting," I'm looking in that book just to
But
make sure.
look, it's I've had to turn down more invites, and I used to feel bad about that, and I'm like, well, actually, I don't have a reason to feel bad. Later there's been conversations about why I may have turned down invites. It's like that area I don't feel comfortable in. I don't feel comfortable driving from my location to yours. There's the in between. And then
Mhm.
also with me being a woman, I have to be a little bit more cautious and just a little bit more cautious about who I hunt with or where I hunt with and what's appropriate, what's not appropriate. I never want to hear anyone say that, oh, she slept with somebody for a hunt. Because oh my god, the outdoor community and the 2A community is worse than high school sometimes.
Oh yeah, for
So
sure.
I have to think about that. Or if I get an invite, okay, well, can I basically bring a chaperone, just for appropriatisms and reputation and appearances. It's a lot easier for a man to just pick up and go on a hunt, but for a woman, it's so many dynamics that we have to think about before we accept to go on a hunt. And then also, I don't want people to just offer me a hunt or invite me to hunt just because I am a woman or I am a black woman. I mean, don't get me wrong, there sometimes I like the fact that it may be a little bit more easier for me to go on a hunt or do an event, but extend that same courtesy to any and everyone, not just extend a special courtesy to me just because, I'm a woman or I'm black.
Right. Yeah. Yeah, I get that too. And I see that a lot in the outdoor industry, even with just the males. I go to the NWTF convention every year in Nashville, the National Wild Turkey Convention, and me, my wife, my son are usually like one of 4 or 5 black people in the whole thing. and it's millions of people that go to this thing. I always carry some business cards with me. That's how I make a lot of my connections. But when people first kind of walk up to me or I walk up to them, they're kind of skeptic until I actually start
Mhm.
talking to them and understand that they understand that I know what I'm talking about. And the first thing usually out of their mouth is like, "Hey man, we need to go on a hunt together." I'm like, "Are you saying that because I'm an African American? Or are you saying that because you really want to go hunt with me?" And it's just kind of like one of them things. They're like, "Well, I'm like, would you extend it to me if I
Yeah.
was, a white male, just meeting, or is it one of them things like you don't think there's a lot of us out there, so you want to extend that courtesy to me?" Which is cool, that you wanna do that, but like like you said, do that for everybody, not
Yeah.
just us. So yeah, I definitely have gotten that before, and yeah, I've also gotten into those places where you go in like gun shops and you're like the only black face in there, and they kind of look at you like you're crazy until you actually start talking, and they actually figure out that you know what you're talking about, and then they're like their guard kind of comes down. Have you ever been in those situations?
I'm always in those situations, and even there's been most of the time when I'm in, I just go ahead and just go with the flow. You never, for me, it's I never know what additional or new information I may learn, but at the same time, I'm like, let me just see how this is gonna play out. And I remember there was a couple of stores that I went into. There was a new employee that he didn't recognize me at all because he was new. And he pretty much assumed that I was in there buying a firearm for the guy I was in there with.
Oh, really?
Yes, like the doubt was all over his face, his body language, the questions he were asking me until another employee came over and say, "Hey, spoke, hey, so how did you like the butt?" And we got to talking. And the guy was like, "Oh, I didn't know you were a regular." And I caught him out and I said, "Yeah, you thought I was in here buying a firearm in my name from a boyfriend, huh?" And he was like, "Oh, no, no." Or, it's ridiculous. It's still
Yeah,
ridiculous.
it is. I feel like it's getting a little better. I feel like we're breaking down some stereotypes and some of these barriers, but at the same time, it's like it's exhausting going to some of these
Yeah.
places, and it's the same stuff every time. Like I went to a gun shop before, walked in, I got my cowboy hat on, my boots. That's just what I wear. Um, my Carhartt stuff, and the first thing out of this man's mouth was, "Are you looking for the Dracos or the Glocks?"
Yeah, that's another.
I'm like, "What? Excuse me?" They're like, "Dracos are over there. The Glocks are in the case." I'm like, "No, I'm actually looking for a shotgun." It's like, "What you hunting?" And then we get to talking. It's like, "Oh, okay, yeah, yeah." I'm like, "Dude, that shouldn't have been the first thing out of your mouth." But like I said, I think it's the fear of the unknown. Like everybody that I've interviewed so far on my podcast, basically, um, we think we're the only ones doing it in our location as
Yeah.
African Americans. But if we could all unite and go to like a big, like me and Trey was talking about this, if we get like a big festival, like all the African American hunters or people of color that hunt in one spot and just invite people, like invite like some of the bigger name, brands in the outdoor industry, I think it would blow some people's mind. I think it would be well over 1 million people there.
Look, when I first started, I couldn't find on Facebook or Instagram not any accounts that were around black hunters. But now it's like, thank you, algorithm, for picking it up. I'm following everybody.
Yeah.
If DeAndre has somebody on his and I catch it, I'm following them too. Cause it's like, okay, 5 years ago when I got started, no influences, no Instagram accounts, and now I'm loving it. I'm seeing more black women out there hunting. I actually had our organization had a women's muzzle loading camp this past weekend. We had two sisters there. I was so
That's
happy.
That's dope. I love
Muzzle loading.
it. That's dope.
Muzzle loading. So excited. And one of them actually got her first deer. She came all the way from New York to kick it with us in Missouri.
Yeah, that's dope.
I was ecstatic.
Yeah, I mean, she probably had to travel that far just to find y'all. You know, she probably
She
found
drove
y'all.
2 days.
Yeah, that's dope. I love it, and I
She
and I
drove
think
2 days.
more
She
people like that.
drove from New York.
Yeah, that's a haul just to be with y'all.
Yeah, I was very happy. And a matter of fact, I need to see if I can catch me another muzzle loader on sale too, because I need one that actually breaks open. Like everybody's like, "You crazy? You want?" I even went to the store and they were like, "Muzzle loader," and I'm like, "Yeah." So my goal was I wanted a tool for each season so I can never have a week that says I can't go hunting this week. I don't have that. So
Right.
I'm
I
almost
like it.
there.
I don't muzzleload hunt anymore. I used to quite a bit, but I just gave it up. I usually muzzleload seasons in. I got my bow in my hand usually. I usually keep a bow and my rifle, and that's about it. But muzzleloader, I had a bad experience with a muzzleloader when I was 16, and it kind of scarred me for life. So I kind of set that muzzleloader down for a while.
I'm like a toddler. I'm like a geriatric toddler. I want to play with all the toys. I want to do all the things. I want to understand all the things. And um, it's another thing I enjoy. Like when I hear a couple of women say, "Oh, I'm too old," and I'm like, "Girl, I'm climbing trees now. What do you mean you too old? I don't have mega knees and I got a messed up back and I'm climbing trees and dragging 200 plus pound deer. What's your next excuse?"
Right. There's always
And I
yep.
was fat at the time too, so they can't even tell me you're in better shape than me. Lies.
Yeah, that's there's always gonna be some people like there out there like that. I've got some buddies like that. It's like, man, I ain't getting out there. I'm too big and I'm too fat. I'm like, bro, I'm 300 pounds. And I said, I'm dragging deer out the woods all the time. I'm not in the greatest shape I used to be when I was playing ball and stuff. I said, but I enjoy what I do. And I think once you get out there, you'll enjoy it too. You know, it's just connecting with nature, getting out there. It's something to do. And plus, you know how to put food on the table if his grid ever goes down. When Kroger starts selling meat for ungodly prices, you can go out in the woods and kill your own meat, put it in the freezer. You got food for your
Yep.
family, So,
Or your
but
backyard and get you a couple of them squirrels.
oh yeah, the squirrels or the rabbits, man. I was trying to get my uncle to go with me this morning, with all the snow on the ground when I got back from my doctor's appointment, but it was just too cold and that snow was coming down. From the time I talked to you, from the time that I texted you back, it had snowed like 5.5 inches. Like it's crazy outside right now.
Yeah, I
So
think it was
everything's
coming
froze.
from our direction, so I know what you got.
Yeah, everything's froze and it's still coming. It's supposed to snow, I think, until like 7 a.m. in the morning. So I can't wait to see what it looks like in the morning. But it's crazy. But
The If I had some cold weather gear that fit, so I could have got in my tree saddle, I'd have been out there. But I don't have wind breaking material. That wind hit different in that tree saddle.
all right, yeah, let's get into that then. You hit the nail on the head. For I've had this conversation with some women as well. Why aren't some of these major brands making the clothes for the I wouldn't say bigger women, for the curvier women? Because it seems like all the clothes that I see, like in Cabela's, Shields, all these other places, are made for like small people. Like, why is
I
that?
mean, I guess you have to be A cupped, shaped like an athletic 16-year-old or 18-year-old boy. I don't know what the problem is. There's actually a couple of lines that have a great plus size chart and fit. Do they have them in the brick and mortars? No. Like Shields, for example, they carry a brand called DSG. DSG goes up to like 4X, maybe 5X. I don't know. They have a great fit. They have a realistic measurements on, and the stuff fits great. But ask me why Shields only goes up to an extra large. Like I would even be satisfied if I could at least try it on. And those plus sizes are just in-store models and you have to order it, but that's not even an option. Companies like what was his name, Lathan, y'all were talking to, Sitka. Yeah, they're pricey, but I would work a couple of extra hours of overtime for a little bit and save up and get it if they actually had tops that fit my titties. Like what I don't understand what the problem is, especially when they claim they have women that are seamstress or designers. And when you're looking online, yeah, most of these pro staffers or professionally paid hunters are the real popular ones. They're not plus size. But then when you think about looking at the realistic average woman that make it out and hunt, she's sitting pretty thick.
Yeah.
She's pretty thick. It flat stomach, thick thighs, big stomach, or pudge, big butt, chest. I don't know what the problem is. It's like they may get the bottoms right, but then they want to stop the tops at a large. I don't know what the problem is. I don't know who they're getting their information from, but it definitely ain't women in my size and age bracket.
Yeah. Uh, like you said, most when you get on Instagram or Facebook or wherever your social media outlet that you use, most of the ones that you see that are field staffers or are sponsored by these companies are, you know, pretty athletic builds, flat stomach, you know,
Mhm.
they can fit in the mediums and the larges or whatever. But you, like you said, the average woman that is out there hunting, they're gonna have a little bit of thickness to them. So you've got to make some clothes for them because all the women that I know that hunt around here, they're basically wearing men's stuff because they can't find anything to fit them. So
Mhm.
how do you propose that we get some of these bigger name brands like the Sitkas and the Kuyus and First Lights of the world to make like some bigger size clothes for the curvier women? How do you think we're going to
Uh,
get there?
I wish I had an answer for you. For starters, if we stop, us plus size women, if we stop just accepting it and making do, maybe they'll listen. Like me personally, I don't feel like I should have to go. I don't want to buy my clothes from the men's section. I shouldn't have to. It's not cut right. It's not fit right. Most times it's not even safe. Like if I go get a men's um extra large jacket just so I'll have enough space in the boobs. Well, if I'm choosing shotgun or rifle or even crossbow, the buttstock gets caught under the underarm because it's too much fabric. I don't know. Like I've even sat on panels and talked to some of these companies. I've emailed them. I've talked to reps. They just don't care. And I get that, like, after, having some friends that have women hunting clotheslines, it can take 2 years, 3 years for them to get, their tech pack patterns approved and out there on the market, but how many 2 years are we gonna keep leaving the plus size women out? Like, when I first started hunting, I was overweight. Being outdoors is what helped me lose weight, and I lost 62 pounds, not trying to diet or anything. It's just from getting out there and walking miles to go upland hunting or dragging ass to go duck hunting or scouting for deer or just going out there practicing. And I'm still thick, snuggle size, but I can fit the regular pants, but it's like, okay, I lost the weight. My chest didn't go anywhere. So what am I supposed to do about a shirt? And, I hear people say, "Well, your camouflage doesn't have to match." Okay, for you it doesn't, but that's unacceptable to me. If I want to go out and match my tops to match my bottoms, then it should be an option.
Right.
My
Yeah.
money is just as good as anybody else's.
Yeah. I understand that. I can't go out in the woods without matching. I'm sorry. I can't do it.
It's a culture thing. Nobody gets it. It's like, my Nikes got to match my jacket and my hat. And you know what? Quite honestly, I feel like I hunt better if I feel better with what I have on. And if my camo matching makes me feel good and puts me in a good spirit, my hunt's going to be that much more successful, regardless if I harvest anything or not.
Yeah. That's what Deion Sanders said. You look good, you play good, they pay good. That's
Exactly.
what
And of course,
that's
nobody's paying me nothing.
you're right. But yeah, just it's that feeling, like if I, wake up late or something and I put on like mismatched camo, like I don't feel right. But if I'm out
Hmm.
there in the woods and everything I got is matching, like I feel better. And I like you said, I think it's a culture thing because I mean, let's just be honest, like in our culture, if you go to the mall and see one of us, everything we got on is matching. From
It
the shoes,
is.
hat, to the grill, whatever we got on, to the chains, everything that we got on is matching. And I feel like it's the same thing in the woods. I feel better when all my camos matching, and that should be, like I said, your money's just as good as everybody else, so you should have that option instead of having mismatched camo.
Yep. And we're looked at different. I remember the craziest thing I ever heard was I went to a still shoot. It was probably like the first or second one I went to, and um, a VP that I used to work with at my old job, he invited me when he found out that I was into shooting sports. So I was like, all right, this will be fun because, nobody really knew I was into firearms at the time. And it was a great shoot. It was I think my second time out there shooting. I was nervous as heck. I did better than I thought I would. Even, the person that invited me was like, you did really good. Some random guy I didn't even know. I guess his wife shoots a lot. I had on some basic gray pants and a gray fuzzy fleece shirt and my holster and all that. And this man told me, "Oh, you did real good out there." He's like, I like your attire you have on. You look really professional." And I was like, "What the hell is that supposed to?" So like, what the hell does that mean? It's like, all right, I'm being judged for my skills that I have or lack thereof, and now I'm being judged by my outfit. Was I supposed to look like people of Walmart out here, or you were just shocked that I actually had on some tactical Nike boots and some
Yeah.
athletic pants and didn't look like a stripper?
Yeah.
Just it was like, okay, that's crazy. Or when I do show up at places, I've had women. Like, I'm a bargain shopper. I have my hunting clothes. I've never paid full price for them. I've always got them on a mad sale,
I'm the
especially
same way.
around I call it the 12 days of Christmas and
Yep.
Black Fridays in November. Like there's lots of deals that say if you spend 500 or $750, you get X amount out. So you end up getting your whole season for like $250.
Yeah.
So not only are you matching head to toe, but you got a full season of warm weather, whatever season you want to wear. So, you got on name brand camo and the tech. The tech is important for me. I bought Walmart clothes once and I'll never do it again. And you
Yeah.
show up and I even have women sometimes that tell me you got to have name brand stuff. You spend a lot of money, or women declare to other women, because my nickname is SB. And they're like, "SB, you always spend tons of money." And I just let these women rant and rave. And I'm like, "You don't know what I spend on stuff. You don't know what was gifted. You don't know what kind of bargain shopping I've done. So why are you putting this stereotype and classification on me?" And then I'm thinking, well, what? Just because I look nice in my camo and I'm plus size, and you're wearing your husband's hand me downs? Why
Right.
are you worried about what my camo? And then, a lot of women don't understand. I did not have anyone to borrow camo from.
Right. So you had to
It
get
was
it.
just me. Yeah.
You had to get it yourself.
Yeah, and then, my family, they're not outdoorsy still, and they still try to support. Like they may, hey, what you want for Christmas? Can I give you $50 on some new camo? Can I get you a gift card? Or because they want to come over for dinner. So you make the comment, this hunting life ain't free. That ammo ain't free. That practice ain't free. That scope I had to get ain't free. And you want to come over here and reap the benefits, I'm gonna need you to help sponsor the cause. So, things like that. And it just amazes me that, I'm thinking, okay, we bargain shop a lot. And the women's clothing line that does fit plus size women has amazing sales throughout the year. I've watched these sales so hard that sometimes I can predict, and I'll tell people during this month, you need to watch for this sale because you'll be able to outfit your whole winter season for about $200.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm the same way. Especially when Black Friday hits, I'm I'm buying everything. And even like during the summer, a lot of times when it's out of season, that's usually when I'm buying a lot of my, like my decoys or whatever. Because usually if you wait, especially
Mhm.
duck hunting, if you wait till in season, it's everything's full price. But if you can wait, summertime, springtime, when all that stuff goes on sale, they're trying to get it out of the store, you can get some hell of a deal.
Yep.
So yeah,
Yep.
I'm right with you there. I shop
Like
like
I'm
my
never if I could not pay full price, I will wait. Or if when I first got started, there were stupid things that I would buy. Like the big controversial thing that I hear is the butt out. When you're whitetail hunting, you either have people that love it or hate it, but you constantly got people that are saying you don't need that, you don't need that. And for a while getting started, you don't know any better, and so you let people's personal preferences or tones or comments kind of affect your approach to the outdoors. Where now I'm a strong advocate of telling people you don't know what I need. Just because something works for you doesn't mean it's going to work for me or vice versa. But here's the thing. Let me have fun
right.
with these things. So like that butt out. It's like, well, so what? I spent $10 on it. Let me just for weirdness, let me just play with it and decide if I like it or not. Or, you got some 6'5" man saying, well, you don't need that. All you got to do is just drop down on it and break the hips. And you looking at this man, you like, sir, gravity is not pulling me as hard as you because I'm barely 5'5". So this ain't breaking no hips
Right.
of no deer if it's, if it's so big. And people are not in the outdoors, the OGs, or people that have been influenced by some of these diehard OG opinionated people are not letting some of us that are still kind of new to the space just have fun with it. Let me
Right.
let me play with some of these stupid things and see it's either dumb or it's not.
Yeah, it's all trial and error. And like you said, like something that might work for me is not necessarily going to work for you.
Yep.
And
And if I end up loving it and I go back to the store, like it was that butt out, I spent $10, but I went back into season. I think they had got down to $4 each, about five of them.
yeah,
And next time we had an event and somebody demoed it and somebody was like, "Oh, I like it." Well, guess what? You get a butt out. You get a butt out. You get a butt out. And it's like sharing the love and sharing the blessings.
for sure. Yeah. Yeah, it's and I always tell people too, like when they first, getting into hunting, the number one question I always get, like, what gear do I need? What do I need to get? I'm like, get what you can afford. Don't let
Mhm.
nobody tell you that you need this. You gotta have this. You gotta have that. Get what you can afford. You can always upgrade. You can always save your money and buy
Yep.
what you want to buy. I said, but as far as shotguns, bows, I can't tell you what to get because what fits me not it might not necessarily fit you. Like
Yep.
I shoot retail shotguns because I like the feel of them. They fit my shoulder well. I like the butt pad system on them, and I just like the way they shoulder. Now, my best friend, he shoots Beretta. I got buddies that shoot Benellis. I got buddies that shoot, Winchesters. I said, we're all different, but you got to try what works for you and spend whatever money's in your price range. Don't try to keep up with the Joneses and buy a
Yeah.
$2,000 Benelli just because so and so on TV's got one.
Oh my gosh, or that what's that phrase? Buy once, cry once.
Buy one,
F
try
that.
one. No, I
F
ain't doing
that. Get what you can afford first. Decide, figure out what you like. And if buying a $300 pump action shotgun is enough to get you through the figure, especially if you don't have any shotgun experience,
it. Right.
that's fine. My favorite motto is just start off with the cheaper one because if you buy one, you're going to end up buying three anyway.
Yeah. Yep.
So, and you can, for me, like, my first shotgun, I lucked up. It was a Beretta. It was an A300. I got it. The store decided they didn't want to sell shotguns anymore. So I got that shotgun for $402. I didn't know jack about shotguns, but I knew that was a Beretta
Steal.
and I knew that was a steal. So I got it. And that thing sat in my safe for a year before I finally pulled it out. Was it the best shotgun for me? No, not necessarily, but I made it work for me, and it ended up being a great shotgun. But
Yeah.
it also gave me an opportunity to figure out what I wanted my next one to feel like. Was it the right, learn about length of pull, learn about gas piston versus inertia.
Yeah.
It gave me an opportunity to learn some things, but I also knew I needed one more shotgun. So the next time I asked the sister, hey, you want to go shoot some plays? I don't have a shotgun. I got two. So that helped. And then I have different models. I think I probably have like 5 shotguns now. I got my duck, my waterfowl shotgun. I got my upland shotgun. I got I call it the U-Haul shotgun, the one that'll take care of everything, the Beretta A300 in the pinch. I got my Peacock shotgun, which is my CZ Sterling. It's my over under
Yeah.
30-inch barrel, blonde wood, fitted for me. It's just beautiful. I have a different shotgun for different reasons and I think I can't say which one is my favorite because that's like asking who's your favorite kid. But I can tell you that my most the one that I could pretty much use for everything is my Frankie Affinity 3.5
You got the big boy.
because if there's ever a shortage of shot, I know I can shoot them 3.5-inch
You can shoot 3.5. Yep.
shells out of there. And I have people tell me, you don't want to shoot 3.5-inch, that'll mess up your shoulder. And I'll be like, look, I started off shooting slugs for a whole year before I learned about birdshot. This shoulder can handle more than you
Right.
think it can handle. And then when I went out and shot the 3.5 shells, I was like, I didn't even notice the difference. I'm like, well, either they ain't shouldering it right or their shoulder is a PUSSY.
Yeah. Yeah, I get that. Yeah, I got multiple shotguns for multiple reasons, and I think everybody, that's in this industry pretty much does. I got a 20 gauge for my rabbit hunting, 28 gauge for rabbit hunting. I got an over and under for clay pigeons and skeet and my duck guns. I mean, it's different. You got different tools for different things. Just like
Yeah.
your toolbox, like you got different wrenches for different applications. You got different shotguns for different applications. So
I do need to
um,
get me a couple of 20 gauges. I only got one, and it's pump action.
I've only got 120, but I've actually got a Frankie Affinity 3, and that's my 20. And I love it. It's made by Benelli. I've shot a Benelli, like the actual Super Black Eagle 3. I didn't like it much. It wasn't mine, it was a buddy's of mine, but shot that Frankie and it felt a lot better. It shouldered well. So I was like, I like this. But like I said, it's all personal preference. And it's same
It
thing with
is.
bows. Like everybody makes a good bow nowadays. It's just what you want to spend and what feels better to you. It's
Yeah,
all
like
personal preference.
currently my bow is the Bowtech Amplify. It's been a
Oh,
great bow for
yeah,
me, especially learning. But now that I understand it more, it's like, all right, next time I upgrade, I know specifically what I want, and definitely more integration is one. But it's been fun learning,
yeah.
figuring out what I need, or especially when I go into the bow shop now and they're wanting to put a Bowtech Eva Shocky.
Oh, yeah,
Nothing wrong with it, but I'm actually almost maxed out. So when I say I'm looking to try a couple of bows, it's like, all right, well, I'm pulling 52 pounds now on my bow.
right.
Why are you gonna show me this?
Yeah,
It's like, can we get something that starts at a 50-pound draw so I can, or either I tell people you don't need to be pull. I have people telling me now, you don't need to try to work towards pulling 60 or 70 pounds, and like, well, if I want to hit that 100-yard target one day, yes, I do at a 3D archery shoot. No, nobody
yeah,
asked me why I want to do it. They just tell me I don't need to.
right. They just tell you, oh, you don't need to do that, but you don't know what I've
Yes,
got planned. Like, I think that's the
yes,
thing, though. Like when most women go in stores, especially bow stores, they start them off with like the bears, which there's nothing wrong with a bear bow. Don't get me
mm,
wrong, or like the Bowtech Iwasakis. They don't even show you like the higher end Matthews or the higher end Bowtechs or the higher end Hoys. They always show you kind of the mid grade bows. And I mean, I get it. Iwashaki's bow is made for a woman, but if you're pulling 52 pounds, that's not a bow that you need. You need something else. Maybe if you're a starter, just getting started, that's a great bow to
yeah.
start with. But if you're already pulling 52 pounds, like, yeah, you need to upgrade. You need something else.
Yeah, and I didn't even work towards it. That's just something that it just naturally happened, just from shooting shotgun a lot and just practicing a lot. Next thing I know, I'm like, oh, I wasn't even, it wasn't like I was lifting weights to get to it, but or the classic when I was practicing, somebody was watching me target practice at I think 40 or 50 yards, and I had just started doing it. Well, you don't need to shoot that. You don't need to be hunting at anything. And I just let them go on and on. And I'm like, there are actually people that hunt successfully at 70 yards with their bow. If I could ethically take that shot,
Yeah.
why couldn't I? It's ethics. It's
Yeah.
ethical. Well, I only shoot 30 yards or less. Well, good for you. And then I go, but did the thought ever occur to you that maybe I'm shooting at these distances because I want to do a 3D competition shoot?
Right.
Oh, and it's like, it'd be nice sometimes if people ask
Yeah.
what is the goal, and then give me constructive criticism or
Hmm.
advice on how to perfect it or hone it in. I don't get that much, and I get that from both men and women.
Yeah.
It's
That's what I
annoying as hell.
love. What I love about my two Bowtechs. Shout out to Eric Sissel, shout out to Wes Barker. Both of them, when I first got into 3D archery, um, they're like, what are you looking to do? How far are you looking to shoot? Are you looking to shoot known 40, known 50, known whatever? And then I was like, well, I want to shoot a 3D, a total archery challenge. I was like, all right, you got to have a completely different setup
Mm,
for this. And here's what you need. Here's what you're gonna need. Let's try this out. They had me try out like 5 different things before I even left the shop. So when I left, I felt 20 times more comfortable when I'm outside shooting my bow in my backyard instead of me like. And I'm 45 minutes away from both of them, so it's not like I could just get in the truck and just drive 10 minutes and I'm there. It's a long drive, so I'm like, I need to make sure everything that I'm doing is correct before I get all the way home and realize, oh, he forgot to do something. I got to drive 45 minutes back.
yeah.
So that's what I love about bow techs like that. Total archery challenges. If you've never been to one, you definitely need to go try one out because
I'm
they're
hoping I can get to that one down in oh, what is it? Omaha? Anyway, it's about 4 or 5 hours from here. I would love to go watch one. And I wish someone would have asked me that when I got my bow. The only decent experience I had when shopping for my bow was they asking what I wanted. And I was like, I don't know. Don't tell me brand, don't tell me cost. Just let me shoot some and see which one feels the most natural. And it just so happened the Bowtech did. Now my amplifier, it's pretty much the bottom of the totem pole, but it was great for me to learn and figure out what I want. Now the next one I get, it's gonna be 2,000, almost $2,000, and I don't know if it's gonna be a Matthews or a Bowtech, but by that point when I can afford to do the upgrade, at least it'll be justified
right.
because I've gotten
Yeah,
plenty of practice and I actually know what I want in my I would lie to myself and say forever bow, but I actually do want two bows and I could dedicate one to hunting and one to 3D
yeah.
competition
That's
shoots.
what most people have. I used to care. I've got one bow now, but when 3D season comes, I'll change it up, and then when hunting season comes, I'll change it back around. I'll eventually get another bow, but I'm a big barterer. I like trading, but like now that all these high dollar bows are coming out, like a lot of people don't want to trade with you anymore because they want to
Mhm.
get close to what they paid for that bow out of that bow. And I'm like, dude, you ain't gonna get that, but that's what everybody's wanting. Like you buy a bow for $2,000,
Yeah.
and 2 years later they're wanting 1,800 for it. I'm like, that ain't how I rock, but I'll
And
stick with my
naked.
bow.
It ain't like they giving you the accessories
Right,
either.
right, but
Yeah.
yeah, I'm looking at the tax stuff now. You got one in Oklahoma. You
Oklahoma,
got
that's
one,
the one that's closest to me.
yeah, yeah, Broken Bow, and then me, Trey, and Justin are going to try to shoot the one in San Antonio, and then the one in Tennessee here is close to me, and then we've got one in Indiana, which is right across the bridge from Louisville, Kentucky, where I'm at. So we're going to try to shoot about three of them this year. So
So I'm a pro staffer with Alpine Optics too, and I am hoping if I get to go to attack and they have a booth that they take at tech. I'm our pro staffer connection, Tyler. I want to beat him at that 100-yard shot. I want to beat him at that 100-yard shot. It is driving me insane because Tyler talks much smack
yeah,
about my archery.
that's part of it though.
So that
That's
that's
part
been
of
great. I have been blessed with some pretty good sponsors. So not only am I a pro staffer with Alpine Optics, but I'm also a brand ambassador with Savage as I'm journeying on trying to get into uh intro to long range shooting. So for me, I have shot a definite confirmed 600 yards and I have shot 1,000 yards, but we didn't have an indicator. They said I hit it. I couldn't hear it. So I'm not, if I hit it, I personally don't know, but they said I did. So I'm documenting that and scheduling some events for that. And also the Tally, they have a women's hunting clothing line, and I love their pants and the shirts that they came out with. So
that's dope.
I do
Yeah.
have a few sponsors. I don't have an archery sponsor, but Alpin has hooked me up with optics, which I had to yell at them because no one told me that I know that do archery that I have range and binos. I've had range and binos probably from almost year two or my second season of hunting. That's all I used was range and binos. I won't use anything else. Well, I just found out at some archery competitions you
You
can't
can't.
use range and binos. And I was like, well, why in the hell nobody ever tell me
Mhm.
this? Because you seasoned people just know and don't think to pass that on to us newbies. So now everybody that comes in my circle that's interested in archery, that also like me, like the range and binos. I'm like, well, if you want to do some competition shooting, make sure you get you a basic bitch
Mhm.
range finder because
Right.
I was heartbroken. I'm like, well, I'm glad I found this out on accident now versus when the time came and then I have to scramble to spend
Yeah.
$200 on a rangefinder.
Yeah. Because I think I'm not completely sure, but I think in the ASA circuit here, I don't think you can use Ranger binos. I could be wrong, but and I'm not sure about the IBO circuit up north, but I think in the ASA circuit, I'm not 100% positive. Somebody's got to check it out for me, but
Look, all I know is I'm trying to get prepared. So I got my basic binos and rangefinder, and it hurts my soul to have to carry two different apparatuses. But
yeah, I need
it
to
is what it
connect
is.
you. I've got to connect you with Amber, the girl that I did a podcast with a while back. She's got her own 3D shoot. It's called the Shot 3D Experience.
The shot 3D experience. Let me write this
Yeah,
down. Yes,
her
please
name
do.
her name's Amber Latasha. If you're on TikTok, her name is Majestic Huntress, I think.
Majestic Huntress. Okay.
Yeah, and she has got. I'm about to pull up her
Okay.
because I think there's one pretty close to you.
Which is another reason why I want to upgrade my bow and keep my original because I would love to be able to take another black woman out to the archery range with me, but that's you can't just rent a bow.
Right.
And somebody getting started, a woman getting started is typically not going to be able to pull my 52-pound bow.
Yeah, she's got one in Oklahoma. There's one in Louisiana.
Jotting this down. We'll
One
be
in
going to Louisiana.
Kansas. I love
Kansas.
Louisiana. Kansas, yep. She got one in Kansas.
Huh.
She's got one in Ozark, Arkansas, Tulsa, Oklahoma. Yeah, I'm gonna have to get you her information because
Please
she's a
do.
beast. She's a beast. I follow her on I found her on TikTok and I just reached out to her and I had to send you the link to our little conversation we had.
Please do. I would love to listen to it, especially since I got to travel
Yeah,
next
she's
week.
she knows her husband. Her husband is real big into it. Like their whole it's like she interviewed me or I interviewed her in in her basement. They've got bow presses. Her husband can do all this stuff. Like if something goes wrong with her bow, her husband's down there fixing it. I think she can work on them too. But Shot 3D experience is basically like a total archery challenge. She's got a lot of sponsors and stuff too. So I'll definitely get y'all connected because uh, she shoots a Hoyt and she's good. She hunts as well and she's always out shooting her bow at 3D targets. Making sure everything's good and she's out hunting and I love what she's doing. Like
Look,
she's a beast.
3D target practice is life changing if you're archery hunting. Like it was.
It really
I'm
is.
so thankful for 3D archery ranges, especially like we have one out here in Kansas, Bonner Spring, Kansas. That's called Elevated Archery, and then there's a new one that opened out in Grain Valley called CR Archery, which I love both of them because Elevated Archery, all their targets are or stands are elevated. So shooting,
Um,
boy, them angles hit different when you elevate
dude,
it. Hit different. And CR Archery, they've let me bring my saddle out and will let me practice shooting at the 3D targets from a tree, which I was like, either I'm y'all favorite or y'all just like getting a good chuckle because that I have a special tree out there and they'll go out and move the targets around. And I asked them to put up a flag system so if I'm out there, I can put some indicator up. That way I don't spook somebody walking in so they'll know
right.
there's
They
somebody
know
up in
you're
the tree out there. So that's been great. And I definitely got I still got a lot of work to do. I got to work on speed. I got to work on my 50-yard targets. I didn't post it on social media because I kind of wanted to keep it to myself for a little bit. But I've harvested my first deer with my compound bow,
That's fantastic. That's
and it
awesome.
was
Post it.
hilarious. It was hilarious. I had been sneaking out with my crossbow, and one of my good friends, she was like, "When are you gonna stop being a," she called me a PUSSY. She was like, "And pull out your compound bow," and I was like, "I don't know, I ain't that good." And I was like, "All right, I'm gonna do it," and got me a doe, and it was great. And I was thinking, "Oh my God, thank goodness I had some 3D target practice because it wasn't until I started practicing it at a 3D target archery range that I didn't realize, I was actually sitting in a blind, a ground blind, shooting from a chair, and I'm like, "Okay, so those are okay shots, but they're not hitting exactly where I want them to hit." And the, guy that owns the range out there, the simplest thing that, seasoned archery people just don't think to tell is, um, aim where you want it to end up at.
Yep.
Oh,
Aim where you
and
want the
I was
arrow to
like
come out. Yep.
"So I don't aim at the," he's like, "No," and I was like, "Why the hell did nobody tell me that?" So, I have this little notebook of all the tidbits that I wished I'd have known from day one.
Right.
So
Yeah.
that
It's just
helped.
stuff you learn. Like I said,
Mm.
it's all trial and error stuff. But like the more you learn, I try to learn something, from somebody everywhere I go. I don't try to say that I do know a lot about archery, but I learn something new every day. I try to learn
Oh,
something new. So it's like the
I
little
don't hardly know
tidbits.
jack.
It's fun when you get down the rabbit hole of like people teaching you stuff, and then you kind of put it put it together with your stuff. They tell you something about holding steady your bubble or whatever, and then you take it outside, and it's just different than trying to do it all yourself. Like it's fun doing it all by yourself, but like the more information I can get from like all the OGs, man, it just helps you out a lot, especially in the hunting world. And like you said,
Yes.
those 3D targets, they're game changers. They are game
And
changers.
women are like a virus. I was the one that started off wanting to, I'm like a toddler. I was the one that was like, "Oh, I gotta get in the saddle." And the minute I discovered tethered, and all my friends thought I was nuts. Now I got a girl saddle gang. I have 2 friends that have a saddle. This season, next season coming up, I think we're all gonna get together and go on an all-girl saddle hunt. So I'm super excited about that, and we'll go practice, and I'm like, "Remember when you broads called me crazy for wanting to get a saddle?" And I was like, "Now we're sitting up here like, 'Hey, this one's on sale,' or 'What accessory did you get?' Or 'Hey, these were on sale, so I got us each one, and Imma send you one in the mail," and it's been hilarious. Like, I don't ever wanna go back to a ground blind
I, I'm a ground blind guy.
ever. Now, the minute I get
I
me
hate
some look look, if me and my one friend are in a blind, we are just going just to relax and get away from the family. We ain't Me and her have passed on plenty of deer in a ground blind because we just relaxing, like, I was like, "Oh,
hanging out.
that was not 150 pounds," and we're just hanging out, Amazon shopping, hiding from the kids.
Yeah, yeah, I get
You
that.
get us in the saddle, it's game time. It's game
Yeah,
time.
I can't do it. I'm scared to death of heights. I don't like climbing for one. So all my boys know I'm the ground blind king. I'll find the
I wasn't
biggest
for
ground
sure if
blind
I
I
was
can
scared of
find.
heights.
I'm terrified of them. I can't stand like my best friend. He bought a 2 man. It was like a 2 man stand, like a ladder stand. It had a 500 pound weight rate, and I'm like, bro, I'm 315, 320, and he's like 180 some pounds. Big old backpack full of stuff. I got a backpack full of stuff. I was like, dog, we pushing this 500 pound limit. He's like, man, he's like, man, you got your rope and everything. You got your safety harness. You good. I just I couldn't get comfortable up here. But you put me in a ground blind, and I'm good. Like I'm fine. Like I just don't like climbing, especially if I'm by myself. I don't feel comfortable. Now, if I'm with him, I'll get up in a stand with him. But if I'm by myself, I'm standing in the blind. I'm sorry.
Look, I've gotten some special permits where I can hunt within city limits at the park for population control. So it's only archery. But some of them areas that I gotta hunt in, they're squatters. So I'm thankful that I'm comfortable using a tree saddle. I swear, I
Right.
think a squatter was following me one day
Mm,
and didn't I could shimmy up the tree pretty quick, and I already had some sticks up ready to go. And I don't know, I may have just been tripping, but I'm in the tree looking down at him, and he's just kind of standing around scratching his head. Gave me the impression he was wondering where'd she go. He never looked up and never saw me. And I'm like, I am so thankful I
yeah.
am
I
in
mean,
this saddle because
he
that
might
could
have
have
been.
went.
Yeah,
He
that
might
could have
have
went south.
been, but I'm like in a ground blind. I don't know. In a saddle, they never nobody the animals nor the people never look up.
Right. Yeah.
Well, they probably
I
will
get that. Yeah, for sure.
now,
But
but improve it hunting camo, and y'all will never see me from September to January.
right. Yeah, they could have went south. They could have definitely went south on you. You never know. I mean, people's crazy nowadays. You got to watch yourself everywhere
Yeah.
you go.
People is definitely crazy, especially the area where I was at. I used to nickname it when I was little Murder Mountain because that's
Oh Lord.
it's probably where they buried the bodies at. Like I have to tell you what this area is offline because
Yeah.
we can't say on social media where this hunt is at, but they don't care if we talk about it. But yeah, I used to call that one Murder Mountain.
I got you. All right, we're gonna switch gears here a little bit. We got hypothetical question I ask all my guests. Okay, let's say you got a female that's in Baltimore. She's in a pretty bad town, pretty bad city. Gangs are after her. She's coming from a one parent household. She's wanting to get into the outdoors, but she's scared of the flack that she's going to get, and she knows nothing about the outdoors. But she's wanting something that she can get into to keep her out of trouble and possibly get out of the city. What advice would you give her?
Come visit us in Missouri. Come hang out with us at Wilderness for a weekend so we can skill you up in private and you get to have a chat with like minded women, probably have the same exact demographic situation and circumstances that you have. And then we can low key connect you with some resources in your area so you can continue at discretion.
I like it.
And if you can't make it to Missouri, just contact us anyway. We know
Yeah,
people. Yeah, we
that's
like
good.
sharing the women network across the country. It's one the outdoors is for everybody. There's enough of it to go around. We don't feel like we need to hog. We share our resources. If we don't know, we try to find out and get people pointed in the right direction. So
Right.
that's what I would have to say. Reach out to an organization like ours, and we will get you connected with a mentor that can help you discreetly.
That's what's up. I like it. I like it. All right. One more question. I'll get you off of here. Um, if you can hunt anywhere in the world for any type of animal, what are you hunting and where are you hunting?
I gotta pick just one.
Just one.
Shit.
Where
Mm.
are you hunting? What you hunt?
Okay, I am gonna have to say South America. to get
Okay.
one of those sexy Osceola turkeys. One, because I have yet to get a turkey, and that turkey looks like a peacock,
Yeah, them are
which
beautiful
is my
turkeys.
favorite bird. I would have to go with that one.
Yeah, you can go to Florida and get them Osceolas though.
Nah, I want to go to South America. Just
South
like I
America.
want to see the Northern Lights. I want to go see it overseas. I don't want to go to Alaska.
Nah, I heard that.
Yeah,
Okay.
nah, it would definitely, yeah, that would be the one.
You taking your shotgun or your bow?
Um, at this stage in my archery life, shotgun.
Shotgun. Okay.
I know my strong points and I know my weaknesses, and archery on the turkey hunt ain't gonna be it right now.
Yeah, I heard that. Well, well, I appreciate you getting on, hopping on the pod with me. This was fun.
Well, thanks for having me on.
Yeah, for sure. I'm gonna have to keep in contact with you and get you hooked up with Amber for sure. And I might even see you at a couple of total archery challenges or some of those shot 3Ds that Amber hosts.
I hope so. I hope so.
It'll be fun. I'll bring the camera equipment and we'll get some of this on camera. See how good you are.
And I promise to be on my best behavior again.
Oh, I don't. Hey, you can cut up out there. I don't care. You
Look,
can
if
be
I'm in the
you.
comments, I'm cutting up.
Yeah, I appreciate it. So how can people get a hold of you or if they want to talk about your the Wilderness Foundation or just talk to you,
So
how they get hold of you?
my personal account is Pink Shears on Instagram. One word. PinkShears. One word, no special characters in it. Organization name is on Instagram is _Wildherness _ and that's spelled WILDHERNESS. Our website is wildherness.org, also spelled the exact same way. Facebook is Wildherness. My Facebook is my name, Sharenda Birts. You go on my personal stuff, it's just gonna be a whole lot of hunting, a whole lot of coffee, plants, and my felons, the birds.
The birds, I got you.
Yeah, I got two parakeets, and they're felons. They know how to get out their cage.
Oh well, call them fellas. That's funny. That's hilarious. But yeah, I appreciate you hopping on. Like I said, this was fun. This will be out on Spotify, Google Podcasts, Apple Podcasts, my personal YouTube page. So make sure y'all give 5-star rating and a review. And give me a like and subscribe to my YouTube channel. I'm trying to get 1,000 subscribers by the end of this year, hopefully, so I can start going live. I'm gonna start doing some giveaways probably next month or the month after, just depending on sponsorship stuff and what I can get to give away. But yeah, Miss Sharenda, I really appreciate it. And if there's anything that I can ever do for you, my phone's always open. Just reach out to me, and hopefully we'll see you out on the archery range.
All right, thanks, Courtney. I appreciate it. Thanks for letting me be a guest. And I probably will be bugging you about your opinions on some of these thumb releases before I commit to one. I got questions for
Hey,
people that use.
I don't use a thumb anymore, simply because I've had my shoulders. I got a real bad shoulder, so I can't turn my hand like this anymore for some reason. Like when I'm pulling the bow rack,
Ah,
I use an index. Um, I'm trying to get out of the. I get punchy with this thing quite a bit, so I've been trying to teach myself to pull through my shots when I get tired. Because I'm fine like the first 10, 15 shots because I'm good. But as I start getting tired, I start getting punchy like I do, with my trigger finger. So, but I got some good releases
gotcha.
that I can definitely recommend for you. They're kind of expensive, but everything's about in the archery world is expensive now. So,
Tell me about it. Because I need one that hooks onto my D loop. I got one that I stole from a friend and it's great, but it does not stay hooked onto my D loop. And I'm like, for saddle reasons, I kind of needed to dangle there a little bit.
yeah, I got you
So
though.
yeah.
No
All
problem.
right.
But
Any
yeah,
advice you got, I will take it. So I will bug you later.
Yeah, you can bug me later. But yeah, but you guys, yeah, this will be out pretty soon. So make sure y'all give this a like and everything. Share it with everybody you know. I think this is a good one, especially for women of all colors. I think we talked about a lot of things that go on with women hunters nowadays. So I think this was a good one. I appreciate you getting on. But big game, small game, all game. We do this too.